Cause something came in the mail today.
Look at what came in the mail today. This isn't mine, by the way. I stole it from my brother. Greetings, hope you're doing well. Today I'm doing a quick review of the new J-Music Ensemble album titled No, wait, stop! Stop! If you like video game music or video games in general, and you haven't heard of J-Music Ensemble, can you even really call yourself a gamer? No, seriously though, go listen to their third star cover of the NYC stage. It is the best version, period. Like right now, go listen to it right now. Back to the topic at hand. After 3 years, the video game, jazz, pop, hip-hop group have finally come out with their long-awaited Persona 5 tribute album, where a handful of tracks of the highly revered Persona 5 soundtrack composed by Shoji Meguro are recreated with the band's own vision being faithful to the source material, while adding in original compositions and ideas of their own that clock in at about an hour and 20 minutes. Alongside the core rhythms and grooves of the originals, they have also infused elements of free jazz, improv jazz, and most notably hip-hop. There are 3 tracks that have rap verses, and they don't feel tacked on or out of place at all. The addition of them actually helps characterize the themes of the song and the game as well if you've played it. Like on Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There, the opening card track in Persona 5, the funky rap verse in the middle of it is pretty well written given the context of the game. Not to mention the featured singer Sapphire sounds almost exactly like Lin Inaizumi, which is pretty impressive to be honest, and the horns sound great on this track too. On the track A Woman, a lounge jazz rendition of Madarame's Palace theme, the verse here is paced and has lyrics that tie directly to Madarame's motif. It flows incredibly well. And the song The Days When My Mother Was There, a gloomy yet somewhat optimistic rendition of Futaba's Palace theme, fit with some power chord bits here and there. The verse here is rapping from Futaba's perspective about the events of her mother's death, which hits really hard if you finish the game. Moving on, there are a couple of big name tracks that get their own spotlight here. The opening of this album, Life Will Change, still retains that thrilling guitar melody as you prepare to steal someone's heart, but has some high-flying horn embellishments towards the end to really ramp up the intensity of the event. Tokyo Emergency is an interesting track. It takes the loop of the original and expands upon it with numerous jazz passages, predominantly using horns, but also bass lines, electric piano, and minimal ad-libs for good measure. I can say the same for Kamoshida's Palace, King, Queen, and Slave, Kanashiro's Palace, Price, Takemi's theme, Butterfly Clinic, What's Going On, the Exam theme, Life Goes On, the Gun Shop theme, Layer Cake. Each of these tracks build upon the base formula of what is there, giving the band's renditions of these tracks their own flavor and distinction. And I thought Beneath the Mask with Ruby Choi was a great pick for closing off the album. Not that the album really has a designated flow to it, but the blissful, curious vibe of the track and the nocturnal aesthetic tied to it made for a fantastic send-off. There was one track I wasn't that high on, and that surprisingly was Last Surprise. The instrumental recreation is great with all the flares of sax and trumpet sprouting at every turn, but the vocal inflections of the singing just sound alien to me. The performance is good, but I think for me, hearing the original so many times, I'm so used to Lin's voice that my brain just will not accept a different one. Some blemishes on the album would be the pacing of some songs. The compositions of these tracks can feel fragmented. Like I said earlier, the band uses free jazz and improv jazz on a couple of the tracks, and where they're put in can be puzzling. The best example I have of this is on the track Price. About 5 minutes in, the track is going off with these instrumental solos of like electric piano and bass, and eventually a like bare minimum drum solo as well. But then for some reason it awkwardly transitions back to the main Weasley melody, giving it a very weird finish. There are a couple spots like that on the album, but they're not detrimental by any means. Overall, it is a rewarding listen to people who have played through Persona 5, but it's also an incredibly accessible jazz album for people who have no idea what Persona is, and that I think needs to be commemorated. Finding that balance of homage and personal identity is not an easy thing to do with covers in general, but they pulled it off. Highly recommend this one, whether you like Persona or not. Give it a shot. If you've heard the album already, what you think of it, let me know down below, and I will leave it at that. I'd give it a